Welcome, everybody, to this week's press conference. Montana, 10th ranked in the nation now, heads to 3rd ranked Idaho for the Battle of the Little Brown Stein. We've got Big Sky Player of the Week, Aaron Fontes, with us, and Ryan Tirrell. And Coach, we will start with your final thoughts on a great win for the Grizzlies at Davis as we prepare to head down to Moscow.
Okay, thanks, Tapes. Congrats to you, Aaron, on being Big Sky Player of the Week. Well deserved.
Thank you, Coach.
Nice job. Against Davis last week, that was a good win over a good team. I thought we played well on offense, played well on defense, and just had an absolutely dominant special teams performance. So good for our guys to go down there and take that win over a good football team. It's the FCS game of the week, I think, and I think we're probably in that one this week as well. So in terms of the Idaho game, Idaho came in here and upset us when we were number 2 in the nation last year. I think that was the first time they'd beaten us since like 2000 or something. So they did a good job coming in here and, again, knocking off the number 2 team in the country a year ago. And then they went on and won 7 games and got into the playoffs. So that was a good job by them. This is always an exciting week to go play our second oldest rival. I know a lot of old Grizzlies really care deeply about this game, and I think both teams will probably be excited to play each other this weekend. So I think our team's improving as we need to. We played pretty well in stretches over the last month plus, and I think our guys give Montana great effort, great focus every week, and we'll need that this Saturday.
Questions?
Coach, you talked a lot about how good of a tackling team this is. How much were some of the defensive adjustments you guys made Saturday just a part of that, part of putting your guys in position to make one-on-one tackles in space?
I don't think that really has anything to do with adjustments.
Do you feel, though, that what you guys are doing defensively right now does accentuate that part of your football team, just making tackles in space?
I don't understand your question, Coulter.
It seems like you guys are bringing a lot less pressure, letting guys sort of roam around the middle of the field.
I'd say that's not correct.
You keep mentioning the special teams, too. Having an advantage field position-wise, how much does that cater to great defensive play?
Well, you know, when you can control the field position game, which we did in a wildly slanted fashion to our favor last weekend, that helps, you know. The guys in that area of the game are playing really hard and really well. You know, when you have to go shorter fields and they have to go longer fields, that certainly helps the cause.
Ryan, just your perspective on the defense, just those halftime, like Braxton and Coach after the game mentioned you guys just kind of settled into your game plan. Just how did you guys do that in the second half against Davis, and kind of, you know, the surefire tackling seemed to help you guys a lot?
Yeah, I thought everybody played really well defensively, especially in the second half. I feel like we settled into our game plan well, and everybody just did their 1/11th and ended up just being enough to defeat a good opponent. So, yeah.
Braxton Hill's obviously been a leader on this defense for a while, but he led the team in tackles for the 4th straight game. Just what's it like working with him, and what does he add to the defense and fire you guys up when he's playing like that?
Yeah, Braxton's a tremendous leader, and not only does he lead with words, but, I mean, you can see on the field he leads by his play most of all, and it's no surprise to anyone on our team or myself that he leads our team in tackles, because he brings it every day. Doesn't matter if it's game or practice. So, yeah, it's an honor being out there with him.
Bobby, just looking at Idaho, like you mentioned, they came in here and won last year. You guys don't lose at home very often. How much does that fire you guys up knowing you're going to get a crack at them on their home turf now and get a chance to kind of avenge that from last year?
You know, I did mention that they came in here and knocked us off last year. I don't think it has, beyond that, I don't think it has much to do with the game. I mean, you got to prepare for this year's team, and we need to prepare our team. Completely different setup than a year ago, obviously.
Bobby mentioned this series against Idaho, something the old timers are excited about. I know when you were first coaching here in the 80s, you guys played them every year, so getting to play them now for a couple seasons in a row, what does it just mean to have this matchup back on a yearly basis?
Well, it's obviously an old rivalry game. I think we've played, is it 86? 86, 87 times, I think. So, you know, in the world of college football, it's a lot of history between two universities. And so, you know, they're kind of a neighbor to the west a little bit. And when you have that history and the proximity and you see each other in recruiting and everything else, it just lends itself to focus on the game, for external focus on the game.
And for both of the players getting to be in this game a couple times, and trophy game for you guys, just what's kind of your understanding of this game and how big it is to fans?
Aaron, you want to take that? Yeah, no, it's a big game. Not just because it's a trophy, but it's a long time considered kind of a rivalry. So it's means a lot to both players and former players. So yeah.
I feel like it's gonna be a good game because some of us from last year still got that bitter taste in our mouth just from what happened last year. So we're gonna take this week strong and just try to exceed every day.
And just on that note, what are both your guys, for the two players, memories of last year's game? What is it that still stands out a year later?
Man, they got the best of us. That's about it. So just really that, just knowing that, they just got us scheme wise. But other than that, we're putting that besides us. Now it's a new week. We're just getting to it.
Yeah, I remember just having a sour taste in our mouths after the game last year. That wasn't a fun game to lose. So you need to control the game, just as they did last year.
And then Bobby, wanted to ask you about their defensive end, number 44. It's top 5, top 6 in the conference in both tackles for loss and sacks. Just what kind of stands out about him when you turn on the film?
Yeah, I haven't really evaluated their personnel much. I kind of just watch the scheme, so you can get me on that later in the week if you want.
Coach, what have you seen from what they've been able to do from the time you played them last till now? Being now, obviously number
Say it one
3.
more time, Sean.
What have you seen from them and how they've been able to kind of grow and get better as a program from the time you played them last time till now?
Last year to this year, they're very, they're very similar. They haven't changed a ton. Everybody tweaks their scheme, but they're real similar to who they were a year ago.
I think they've sold out ESPN game. Obviously, when teams play the Grizz, it's usually one of their bigger games of the year. How do you balance that as far as approaching it like it's a regular game, but also making sure you're kind of matching the energy that they're going to have?
I don't know. I always expect the other team to have energy. They always seem to when they play us, so that's not going to be a surprise. I think it'll probably be noisy. We'll have to handle that.
Their quarterback, obviously, that's been very good. Playmaker, what do you see from him on film?
He's just exactly what you said. He's a good player. He's got a good pocket presence. He's accurate with the football. He's really developing into a fine player.
And then Hayden Hatton at wide receiver, obviously kind of a big body guy, but what makes him kind of difficult to slow down?
Well, I think they have 3 really good receivers, guys that are really hard to cover. Their numbers are 0, 80, and 1, and they are all really good players.
Ryan, what about for you when you kind of look at them defensively? I know you're going to dive into it more as the week goes on, but what makes them challenging?
Right. I think they have a lot of targets throughout their whole team. They can run the ball and throw it. I think they have a lot of dynamic people, and they should be a good opponent for us. And, yeah.
Aaron, Offense Player of the Week. That first touchdown catch you had was pretty crazy, where you had to lay out to get the ball. Can you walk us through that?
Yeah, I mean, it was a good play call. I mean, I don't really know what to say. Cliff had to scramble a little bit, make something happen, but I mean, when the ball came out, I just knew I actually had to, give a little extra to go get it. And once I noticed I tipped it to myself, I kept my eyes on the ball the whole time and, was kind of looking at it, seeing it was right up over my chest. And when it kind of got to a point where I could grab it, I just, held on tight. And then I got up, and I should have looked at the ref, but I looked at Keelan, and he gave me, he gave the touchdown. That's when I kind of got hyped, kind of got us back into the game.
And Bobby, it really felt like you guys were able to move the ball through the ground and the air very productively. What really goes into that when you're able to kind of do what you want on offense?
Well, good balance in terms of play call and production are good. I think you're really hard to stop when you're doing that. So the ability to move the chains in third down we were high percentage in third down last weekend. I think that helped things, obviously. Anytime you can get a new set of downs and keep it rolling, I think that's kind of how we have to do things. I think that's our way right now. So it's good.
Bobby, you touched on the quarterback and the receivers. Any other area on Idaho's team that kind of stands out when you've looked at them, that kind of some of their strengths, whether it be offense, defense, or special teams?
I think there are a lot in terms of, it's going to be redundant because I'm going to say the same thing I said about Davis last week. I think they're good in all three phases. I think they're a real solid football team, offense, defense, special teams. I think they do a good job. So they're a well-rounded team, and they're 5-1, we're 5-1, and it's a big game.
Aaron, just the offense has been kind of clicking the last couple of weeks. How do you guys keep this momentum going? Like, what do you see succeeding, and how do you guys keep that rolling this next week?
We had a good practice last week with good scout look and just kind of, bringing more to practice. So I feel like if we do that again this week, just, with a little bit more, I don't know, probably a little bit more grit to it, just since we got that bad taste in our mouth. I feel like we could really get things going this week.
And Bobby, kind of similar question for you.
I was going to ask you, did you ask me about the crowd? That was you, Sean, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, is it sold out?
I think so, yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. I mean, they only have 4 games at home this year. They ought to sell it out. I mean, it's no fun playing in an empty stadium, so good. Anyway, go ahead.
This similar question kind of asked him, just how do you guys keep this momentum on offense rolling? Like, what's been, in your eyes, what do you see that you guys can keep that going?
Well, the answer's simple. I mean, you go execute. Now, whether you get to do that or not, I mean, the other team's got some say to that too. But the answer to keeping it rolling is go execute.
Then just for both the players too, we touched on obviously the loss last year. Just how do you guys harness those emotions and not get too worked up after trying to get back in a loss? Like Coach mentioned, it's just kind of a new week. How do you guys maybe look at that for both of you?
I would say just, bringing that effort into practice, letting everybody know how it went last year, just to get them going. And, I would just say keep the momentum up at practice. Like Coach said, just, execute.
Yeah, I think we just have to be mindful that this is a big game for our team, and not look at the past so much, but look at the future and just try and go out and dominate.
Bobby, just the evaluation of Idaho's running backs, it seems like both of them pretty good 1-2 punch.
Yeah, like I mentioned to Frank, I haven't really done a real deep dive into their personnel, but they're physical runners. That comes off on the film. They want to run the ball. They have great wide receivers, as I mentioned, also when Sean asked. But they want to run the ball, and those backs are good at it.
Do you have a definitive memory of the Kibbe Dome or just playing Idaho in general, just of this rivalry?
I've been there a lot of times. Even to the point where, I think when I was a GA at UCLA, we practiced there when we played Washington State. So I've been there many, many, many times, and I actually like it. It's it's a fun place to play.
Anybody else? Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.